أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد، الله الصمد، لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد، الله الصمد، لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد، الله الصمد، لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الفلق، من شر ما خلق، ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب، ومن شر النفاثات في العقد، ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الفلق، من شر ما خلق، ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب، ومن شر النفاثات في العقد، ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الفلق، من شر ما خلق، من شر غاسق إذا وقب، ومن شر النفاثات في العقد، ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الفلق، من شر ما خلق، ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب، ومن شر النفاثات في العقد، ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الفلق، من شر ما خلق، ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب، ومن شر النفاثات في العقد، ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الناس، مالك الناس، إله الناس، من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الناس، مالك الناس، إله الناس، من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الناس، مالك الناس، إله الناس، من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الناس، مالك الناس، إله الناس، من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. ربي أعوذ بك من همزات الشياطين، وأعوذ بك ربي أن يحضرون. ربي أعوذ بك من همزات الشياطين، وأعوذ بك ربي أن يحضرون. ربي أعوذ بك من همزات الشياطين، وأعوذ بك ربي أن يحضرون. أفحسبتم أنما خلقناكم عبثا وأنكم إلينا لا ترجعون. فتعالى الله الملك الحق، لا إله إلا هو رب العرش الكريم. وما يدعو مع الله إلها آخر لا برهان له به، فإنما حسابه عند ربه، إنه لا يفلح الكافرون. وقل رب اغفر وارحم وأنت خير الراحمين. فسبحان الله حين تمسون وحين تصبحون، وله الحمد في السماوات والأرض وعشيا وحين تظهرون. يخرج الحي من الميت ويخرج الميت من الحي، ويحيي الأرض بعد موتها، وكذلك تخرجون. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله، وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو، عالم الغيب والشهادة، هو الرحمن الرحيم. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو، الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر، سبحان الله عما يشركون. هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور، له الأسماء الحسنى، يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض، وهو العزيز الحكيم. سلام على نوح في العالمين، إنا كذلك نجزي المحسنين، إنه من عبادنا المؤمنين. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء، وهو السميع العليم. بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء، وهو السميع العليم. بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء، وهو السميع العليم. اللهم إني أصبحت منك في نعمة وعافية وستر، فأتم نعمتك علي وعافيتك وسترك في الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم إني أصبحت منك في نعمة وعافية وستر، فأتم نعمتك علي وعافيتك وسترك في الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم إني أصبحت منك في نعمة وعافية وستر، فأتمم نعمتك علي وعافيتك وسترك في الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم إني أصبحت أشهدك وأشهد حملة عرشك وملائكتك وجميع خلقك أنك أنت الله لا إله إلا أنت وحدك لا شريك لك، وأن سيدنا محمدا عبدك ورسولك. اللهم إني أصبحت أشهدك وأشهد حملة عرشك وملائكتك وجميع خلقك أنك أنت الله لا إله إلا أنت وحدك لا شريك لك، وأن سيدنا محمدا عبدك ورسولك. اللهم إني أصبحت أشهدك وأشهد حملة عرشك وملائكتك وجميع خلقك أنك أنت الله لا إله إلا أنت وحدك لا شريك لك، وأن سيدنا محمدا عبدك ورسولك. اللهم إني أصبحت أشهدك وأشهد حملة عرشك وملائكتك وجميع خلقك أنك أنت الله لا إله إلا أنت وحدك لا شريك لك، وأن سيدنا محمدا عبدك ورسولك. الحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا يوافي نعمه ويكافئ مزيدا. الحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا يوافي نعمه ويكافئ مزيدا. الحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا يوافي نعمه ويكافئ مزيدا. آمنت بالله العظيم وكفرت بالجبت والطاغوت واستمسكت بالعروة الوثقى لا انفصام لها والله السميع العليم. آمنت بالله العظيم وكفرت بالجبت والطاغوت واستمسكت بالعروة الوثقى لا انفصام لها والله السميع العليم. آمنت بالله العظيم وكفرت بالجبت والطاغوت واستمسكت بالعروة الوثقى لا انفصام لها والله السميع العليم. رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبسيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم نبيا ورسولا. رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبسيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم نبيا ورسولا. رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبسيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم نبيا ورسولا. حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم. 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 اللهم إني أسألك من فجاءة الخير وأعوذ بك من فجاءة الشر. اللهم أنت ربي لا إله إلا أنت خلقتني وأنا عبدك وأنا على عهدك ووعدك ما استطعت. أعوذ بك من شر ما صنعت. أبوء لك بنعمتك علي وأبوء بذنبي فاغفر لي فإنه لا يغفر الذنوب إلا أنت. اللهم أنت ربي لا إله إلا أنت عليك توكلت وأنت رب العرش العظيم. ما شاء الله كان وما لم يشأ لم يكن ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. أعلم أن الله على كل شيء قدير وأن الله قد أحاط بكل شيء علما. اللهم إني أعوذ بك من الهم والحزن وأعوذ بك من العجز والكسل وأعوذ بك من الجبن والبخل وأعوذ بك من غلبة الدين وقهر الرجال. اللهم إني أسألك العافية في الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم إني أصبحت أعوذ بك من الهم من شر نفسي ومن شر كل دابة أنت آخذ بناصيتي أن ربي على صراط مستقيم. يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك أستغيث من عذابك أستجير. أصلح لي شأني كله ولا تكلني إلى نفسي ولا إلى أحد من خلقي طرفة عين. اللهم إني أعوذ بك من الهم والحزن وأعوذ بك من العجز والكسل وأعوذ بك من الجبن والبخل وأعوذ بك من غلبة الدين وقهر الرجال. اللهم إني أسألك العافية في الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم إني أسألك العفو والعافية والمعافاة الدائمة في ديني ودنياي وأهلي ومالي. اللهم استر عوراتي وآمن روعاتي. اللهم احفظني من بين يدي ومن خلفي وعن يميني وعن شمالي ومن فوقي وأعوذ بعظمتك أن أغتال من تحتي. اللهم أنت خلقتني وأنت تهديني وأنت تطعمني وأنت تسقيني وأنت تميتني وأنت تحييني وأنت على كل شيء قدير. أصبحنا على فطرة الإسلام وعلى كلمة الإخلاص وعلى دين نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وعلى ملة أبينا إبراهيم حنيفا مسلما وما كان من المشركين. اللهم بك أصبحنا وبك أمسينا وبك نحيا وبك نموت وعليك نتوكل وإليك النشور. أصبحنا وأصبح الملك لله والحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم إني أسألك خير هذا اليوم فتحه ونصره ونوره وبركته وهداه. اللهم إني أسألك خير هذا اليوم وخير ما فيه وخير ما قبله وخير ما بعده وأعوذ بك من شر هذا اليوم وشر ما فيه وشر ما قبله وشر ما بعده. اللهم ما أصبح بي من نعمة أو بأحد من خلقك فمنك وحدك لا شريك لك، فلك الحمد ولك الشكر على ذلك. سبحان الله بحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله بحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله بحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله العظيم وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله العظيم وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله العظيم وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله عدد ما خلق في السماء، سبحان الله عدد ما خلق في الأرض، سبحان الله عدد ما بين ذلك، سبحان الله عدد ما هو خالق. الحمد لله عدد ما خلق في السماء، الحمد لله عدد ما خلق في الأرض، الحمد لله عدد ما بين ذلك، الحمد لله عدد ما هو خالق. لا إله إلا الله عدد ما خلق في السماء، لا إله إلا الله عدد ما خلق في الأرض، لا إله إلا الله عدد ما بين ذلك، لا إله إلا الله عدد ما هو خالق. الله أكبر عدد ما خلق في السماء، الله أكبر عدد ما خلق في الأرض، الله أكبر عدد ما بين ذلك، الله أكبر عدد ما هو خالق. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم عدد ما خلق في السماء، لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم عدد ما خلق في الأرض، لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم عدد ما بين ذلك، لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم عدد ما هو خالق. لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وعلى كل شيء قدير عدد كل ذرة ألف مرة. لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وعلى كل شيء قدير عدد كل ذرة ألف مرة. لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وعلى كل شيء قدير عدد كل ذرة ألف مرة. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد مفتاح باب رحمة الله عدد ما في علم الله، صلاة وسلاما دائمين بدوام ملك الله وعلى آله وصحبه عدد كل ذرة ألف مرة. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد مفتاح باب رحمة الله عدد ما في علم الله، صلاة وسلاما دائمين بدوام ملك الله وعلى آله وصحبه عدد كل ذرة ألف مرة. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد مفتاح باب رحمة الله عدد ما في علم الله، صلاة وسلاما دائمين بدوام ملك الله وعلى آله وصحبه عدد كل ذرة ألف مرة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون وسواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم. إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين. واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون. قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا ما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون. قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين. قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب أليم. قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون. وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون. وما لي لا وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون. أتخذ من دونه آلهة إن يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغني عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون. إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين. إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون. قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين. وما أنزلنا على قومه من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون. يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون. ألم يروا كم أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون. وإن كل لما جميع لدينا محضرون. وآية لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها حبا فمنه يأكلون. وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وأعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملته أيديهم أفلا يشكرون. سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون. وآية لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون. والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم. والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالعرجون القديم. الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون. وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين. وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آية من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين. وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا أن نطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين. ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون. ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون. قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون. فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون. إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون. سلام قولا من رب رحيم. ممتاز اليوم أيها المجرمون. ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم ألا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم. ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون. هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لطمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نعمره ننكس في الخلق أفلا يعقلون ما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين ينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وذللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم يرى الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحييها الذي أنشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون اللهم إنا نستحفظك ونستودعك أدياننا وأبداننا وأنفسنا وأهلنا وأولادنا وأموالنا وكل شيء أعطيتنا اللهم اجعلنا وإياهم في كنفك وأمانك وعيادك من كل شيطان مريد وجبار عنيد وذي بغي وذي حسد من شر كل ذي شر إنك على كل شيء قدير اللهم جملنا بالعافية والسلامة وحققنا بالتقوى والاستقامة وعدنا من موجبات الندامة إنك سميع الدعاء اللهم اغفر لنا ولوالدينا وأولادنا ومشايخنا وإخواننا في الدين وأصحابنا ولمن أحبنا فيك ولمن أحسن إلينا والمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات يا رب العالمين وصل اللهم على عبدك ورسولك سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم وارزقنا كمال المتابعة له ظاهرا وباطنا في عافية وسلامة برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. So yesterday we finished the biography of Sidi Ahmad al-Alawi. And Sidi Ahmad al-Alawi, what ends up happening is that he ends up moving to the east, visiting the east, I should say. Sorry, he ends up visiting the east and having a branch there of his path there of his order, and a sheikh named al-Hashimi becomes his disciple basically and follower, and he ends up being the very popular sheikh. And from that, you end up with Sheikh Abdurrahman al-Shaghuri. Maybe there's a name in between. And then Sheikh Nuh Keller is actually the sheikh after that. But one of the things that we had, one of the people that we had mentioned is the name of Ahmad ibn Idris. If you go previously to Ahmad al-Alawi, there was another sheikh who was, as we said, Sidi Ahmad al-Alawi was not necessarily a faqih. Okay, he was not like a faqih type. He was a faqih, but he was not acting in the role of of a jurist, basically. Okay, he was not in the position of a jurist. Now, one of the imams who was a position of a jurist and had He's known as the enigmatic sheikh, and he's actually considered the mujaddid of his century. He's actually considered the mujaddid of his century without actually necessarily being famous in and of himself, which is amazing. Okay, is Sheikh Ahmad ibn Idris. And he lived earlier, a century earlier. And from him, okay, from Sayyid Ahmad ibn Idris, Sheikh Ahmad ibn Idris spawned three massive movements, all of them that can be considered revivers, including the Sanusi Empire of Libya. Okay. Muhammad ibn Ali as-Sanusi was one of his disciples, or from the heritage, maybe either his disciple or disciple of his disciple, who ends up making a kingdom in Libya, establishing the Sanusi kingdom in Libya. It not only just a kingdom, it was a tariqa and a kingdom. He ends up having a Sheikh al-Mirghani, Muhammad Uthman al-Mirghani. Okay, ends up becoming extremely popular and leads, and eventually also his teaching leads to Egypt. Okay, so Mecca, Egypt, Libya, Sudan. These four places he touches, these places, and he has, and students come spawn from his students. So he himself, not many people actually know about him from his generation, but his students had immense impact. So that's why his biography is very interesting, because there's not much that people really know, but his disciples all spawned humongous revivals in their own localities. Now, one of the secrets of Ahmad ibn Idris is that he was truly a mujaddid, in that Sheikh Ahmad ibn Idris saw that there's a problem, and that murids, disciples, students of knowledge, they're not connecting directly to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and so he felt that there's so much going on, we need to simplify matters, and he is somebody who revived the sunnah of the Prophet, peace be upon him, more than anybody else. Okay, so let's take a look at his biography, because he comes from Al-Maghrib. He comes from right outside Fas. So let's read here. One of Sheikh Ahmad ibn Idris' students, Imam Muhammad Uthman al-Mirghani. This is this is a major scholar himself, and he's a reviver himself. He's almost Sheikh Ahmad Idris is almost like the teacher of the revivers. All right, the ummah is so vast now. He's almost like Sheikh al-Mujaddidin. He wrote, one time, toward the end of his stay in Mecca, I looked at him while he was sitting next to the doors of the Masjid al-Haram. I looked at the greatness of his spiritual state and the lights that surrounded him. I saw such light was coming out of his noble beard, that if the light from a single hair of his beard traveled across the world, it would turn all of its inhabitants to awliya. Ibn Idris was born into a pious family in the suburb of Mysore in the district of Al-Araish near Fez in Morocco in 1750. So this is the century we're talking about, right? And this is the century right before there are about to be major struggles in the Islamic world, right? And so he is actually, this sheikh we're reading about is almost like the spiritual father of many scholars who will stand up in resistance to what's about to happen to the Islamic world, the disaster that's about to happen to them from colonialism. He was a direct descendant of Sayyidina al-Hasan ibn Ali, the grandson of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was often referred to by modern academics, we don't need to read them, as the enigmatic saint, as very little was known about him in comparison to the great influence he had on the Muslim world. So that's it. Now, one of the things that is known about him is very famous, actually, is the letters of Ahmad ibn Idris. And this is a book that's actually, quite, it's out there, right? The letters of Ahmad ibn Idris. This book is out there. Okay. let's see, the Muslims have published it. Many different groups have published it. So the book about the letters of Ahmad ibn Idris is a book that's out there, right? And you could probably buy it, right, from Amazon. Yeah. So he himself is not known, but his students have become extremely well known. He's the sheikh of the mujaddids, and he did not leave behind a compendium of written work, right? He didn't have books. He didn't have a big following. Okay. It is said he was also bestowed with another name by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as-shifa, that he had many dreams of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Even before he had reached adulthood, Ibn Idris would seclude himself and devote most of his time to worship and contemplation. He memorized the Quran and several other important Islamic texts before moving to Fez and attending the Qarwiyin at the age of 20. He excelled at Fez and went on to become a teacher at the Qarwiyin in 10 years. Within 10 years, he became very close to a Mauritanian scholar called Muhammad Limjaydri ibn Habibillah. He would go on to play an important role in the spiritual development of Ibn Idris. So that was his closest sheikh. Sheikh Limjaydri was impressed with Ibn Idris that he introduced him to his own teacher, Sheikh Abdul Wahhab al-Tazi. Sheikh al-Tazi was struck by Ibn Idris's eloquence and the tremendous power of his voice. Ibn Idris took 3 paths from al-Tazi: Shadiliya, Naqshbandiya, and then Qadiriya, which is different from Qadiriya, all right, which was by Abdul Aziz al-Dabbagh. Both Dabbagh and Tazi were awliya of their own and had many dreams of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ibn Idris himself saw the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam in dreams a number of times, and from him received a salawat and dhikr and istighfar from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how to do a specific awrad in himself from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. At the age of 49, Ibn Idris moved to Mecca, stopping on his way to Algeria, Tunis, and Libya. He lectured whenever he could. The talks often centered on knowledge and tasawwuf. His intention was to spend the rest of his life in the 2 holy mosques. He taught extensively in Mecca, but also in Medina and Ta'if. A common criticism of Sufis at the time is that people felt that they leave behind the Quran and the Sunnah and deviate from it altogether. However, Ibn Idris was a staunch advocate of the Quran and the Sunnah. One time his student, Muhammad ibn Ali as-Sanusi, he was his direct student, all right, Muhammad ibn Ali as-Sanusi, said to him, "Dictate to me your lineage so that I may record it," because you know that we Muslims we take the lineage very important for us, is the lineage. And of course, back in the day, they used to know lineages, up to some major figure, Sahabi maybe, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He replied, "My lineage is the book and the Sunnah. Look, and if you find me upon the book and the Sunnah, then say Ahmad ibn Idris is upon the book and the Sunnah. That is my lineage." This Muhammad ibn Ali as-Sanusi, he is the disciple of Ahmad ibn Idris from Libya. And he goes on to not only establishing a mashayikha, an order, and a tariq in Libya, but he establishes a monarchy. He establishes a khilafah and a kingdom in Libya. He rules, basically. So, very influential. He lamented the deterioration of Islam and Muslims in general. Okay. Now, if in 1750 there was reason to lament the deterioration of Islam and Muslims, then I would assume today the wheels are completely off and we're in a completely another zone. He wanted to revive forgotten practices and teachings of the Prophet ﷺ, no matter how small. He would often send his best students as missionaries to the Muslim lands to revive them and their societies. They were, in essence, healers. This would be his lasting legacy. So he wasn't sufficient. It didn't suffice him to just do dhikr and do ibadah. He wanted to revive the sunnah in different places, and he wanted to go out there and have an influence, and he sent his students out there. Later in his life, he moved to Yemen. He himself moved around all over the place. He was aging and felt obliged to pass on as much knowledge as possible. Some scholars had said the revival of Tasawwuf in Yemen was brought about by Sheikh Ahmad ibn Idris. Ibn Idris was a mujtahid, all right, which basically means that he could derive rulings from himself. He didn't establish a madhab, but he was a mujtahid. His aptitude in hadith was tested by the Meccan scholars in the same way that they tested Imam al-Bukhari. Right? They attempted to throw him off by mixing chains of narrators and hadiths, but he answered each and every one of them correctly. Right? So he proved himself to be a master of hadith. Ibn Idris wanted people to receive everything directly from the Prophet ﷺ, so he called his path At-Tariqa al-Muhammadiyya, right? At-Tariqa al-Muhammadiyya, right? In which he would tell people the Prophet is the Shaykh, right? And you take things directly from the Prophet ﷺ. In other words, directly from the Quran and the Sunnah. Shaykh Ahmad ibn Idris, his originality lay in his humility, his conscious effort in wanting to follow the Prophet ﷺ in every single action with utmost sincerity. He was a luminary that was intent on giving and reviving the Prophet ﷺ in people's lives and homes. Someone might ask, how do you revive the Prophet in your life and your home? Very simply, by telling stories and reading descriptions and reading the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ out loud in the house, even if for only 5 minutes a day. Even if for only 5 minutes a day, but to do it every single day. He wanted God and his Messenger ﷺ to be the center of everyone's lives. Okay, I can't help but feel precisely this is what we are lacking, the presence of Allah and his Messenger in our daily lives. 4 core principles of Ahmad ibn Idris. To remember before every word or action that Allah will question you according concerning that action. To perform every word and action for Allah alone. To make one's heart and home a home for mercy towards all Muslims, great or small. And to give them honor and respect, which is their right. Oftentimes when we get into the refutation fields, which is a very important field, to refute heresies, and to correct mistakes of other Muslims. The refutation of heresy is something that may spill into or merge into commanding right and forbidding wrong. The difference is that the heretic is outside the fold of the Sunnah or Islam altogether. The one we're commanding right and forbidding wrong is somebody who is a Sunni Muslim. There is a big difference between the two. The one who you command and forbid, you have to be gentle with them because that's your Muslim brother. You cannot establish, you could be upset with them, right? You could be heated, but that person is not your enemy. That person is your brother and sister in Islam. All right, so you have to know that, and you have to have a good relationship with them. Or you should have to realize that you're not out to destroy them. As a Shafi'i said, are you out to change people, to destroy them, right? Or to rectify them? So one of the mistakes that people often make about commanding right and forbidding wrong is they start treating the person who does a simple minor wrong action like he's the enemy of God. And you see this all the time in the refutation circles. There are some circles that emphasize refutation and forbidding wrong far more than others, right? These circles, there is a misguidance that's very obvious and clear in these circles, is that they start taking, and then they're forbidding, they start taking them as enemies. That's the one thing. And they start almost taking, it's like taking joy in exposing people's, oh, you made this mistake. Oh, he made this mistake. And then on top of that, their forbidding of wrong gets more and more and more finite. It's like now we're talking about minutia here. So that's another way in which that the crowd of the refutation crowd and the forbidding wrong crowd, that's how they can go astray. Every group can go astray in a different way, right? If you go into excesses, you can go astray in a different way. So it's very important what he says here, to make one's heart a home for mercy towards all Muslims, great or small, and to give them honor and respect, which is their right. Good character
to treat one's family and households and all of creation kindly and gently. Some of his maxims, his sayings. The greatest portion of our aim is following the Prophet ﷺ footstep after footstep. Tasawwuf is to empty the heart of anything but God. Leave aside rest and sleep. Stand up for Allah, may He be praised and glorified, on the foot of sincerity, which I believe He's referring to here in Tahajjud. May your tongue habituate itself to the remembrance of Allah Most High so that it overwhelms your heart. And when someone says, this may take years, but you marinate, your heart marinates in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then you have experiences. You have hardships, and then you overcome those hardships, and you have achievements, right? You make achievements, okay? And those achievements, you have to thank somebody for these achievements. And that gratitude, all that is what they call mu'amala with Allah Ta'ala, interaction. It's like an interaction with Allah Ta'ala. And that's what makes the arifin, and that's what gives ma'rifah and wilaya. That's what it is. It's years of practice in which you're feeling inside your heart is that Allah has always been near you, with you, and that He's with you all the time. And that you have memories now. You have years of ibadah and dhikr and ups and downs and tawbah and collapses and rehabs and pick yourself up and all those things. And yet He's been with you, kept you up all this time. Indeed, there is nothing more harmful to a true faqir than his hope in people. For hope in people is a sword which cuts man off from Allah. We are slaves of God, journeying towards God and fearing nothing save God, hoping in nothing save Allah, clinging to nothing save Allah, and placing trust in nothing save Allah. His legacy. Ibn Idris is a true luminary, and the light he had can still be seen penetrating the hearts and minds of many to this day, because many of the sheikhs who were popular in the past century even were from his lineage of scholarship and tasawwuf. This transcendent light today is carried through his students who went on to form their own paths, such as Muhammad ibn Ali Sanusi, ibn Rashid, or Ibn Rashid, Muhammad Uthman al-Marghani, Abdurrahman ibn Mahmud, and among later figures, Salih al-Ja'fari of Egypt. One Harvard study. Why do I need to read a Harvard study? Who are these people anyway? Okay. Unless it's a Muslim who wrote it. I'm not interested. John Vol is okay. Right. The Idrisi tradition gave birth to leaders of holy wars, men who established religious states. I mean, honestly, I take offense to this. Why do we need to go to a non-Muslim, right, to go and give him praise? Could you imagine being on a Hasidic Jewish website, Hasidic Jews, right, and then they quoting a Muslim? It's never going to happen, right? Anyway, let's see what he has to say. Obviously, it's going to be something good. The Idrisi tradition gave birth to leaders of holy wars, men who established religious states, which is the Sanusi state of Libya, and a number of important centralized turuq. Its success was such that observers at the end of the 19th century felt that it was the source of much of the Islamic dynamism of the time. Okay. So that's a little, and here, that's a little piece there, little biography of Ahmad ibn Idris. There's not much. There's these letters of Ahmad ibn Idris, which I think I actually have some of them. I think I used to, at least. But this is one of the books that it's a very good book in terms of, let's see if there's another copy. It's not the copy that I have, for sure. But this is one of the books, if you want a book to read, easy to read. I haven't read it in a long time, to be quite honest with you. But I do remember seeing this in the library constantly until I finally picked it up and got myself a copy. I can't remember exactly, but that there was another publisher for it, right? The letters of Ahmad ibn Idris. Okay. So that's inshallah our look today, our biography today. See if we have any comments. Oh, we got some commentary here on the live chat. So let's take a look. Assalamu alaikum. Is it allowed or advised to reduce socializing if this doesn't improve your spirituality? You can decrease your socializing if you want, but everyone's different. It's a case by case basis. It depends who you're hanging around with. It depends who your community is. How long should you stay if you go visit a friend, or if you're invited? Are short visits from the sunnah? What should you do if you have friends who want to come often and stay late till the night? I don't actually advise people to hang out late into the night, but it's important to have friends, in my opinion. So every once in a while, maybe it's important to have friends. You got to have friends, but your friends have to be good. That's the thing. You need friends who are gonna at least, they love mashayikh, they love masajid, they have a clue. That you need. If you have friends like that, you can hang out with them. Pretty much. The more you hang out with them, the better. It's good to be with such people that help you pass time in this world without forgetting, or reminding you of our purpose. That's their role, is to remind us of our purpose. So even if you're doing some, dunyawi things or lahu a little bit, it's okay. Dinner visits of like families inviting each other for dinner or something like that, or that's 3 hours usually. Not you shouldn't go more than 3 hours. If it's like tea or something, it's like 2 hours. If it's just hanging out with friends, usually that's free flowing, right? 2-3 hours. I think after 3 hours it gets tiring. Are you allowed to close your eyes even if you are not that sleepy, to show them that you want them to leave because you want to sleep? This is a very interesting friendship, because they seem to, well, I mean, you should be happy. They seem to really like you. But one of the things that there are ways that you can hint, oh, I got an early morning tomorrow, unless they know that you don't, but I got an early morning. All right, I got to sleep. I got a hard stop at like 5 o'clock or 10 o'clock or whatever. There are little hints that you could drop to tell people that it's time to go. You know what? Sometimes I actually just get up and go to the other room and lay down. Right. I remember one time, subhanAllah, I actually accidentally took the wrong medicine, and it turned to be a PM, which is one of those medicines that actually has a sleeping element to it. And I took it literally while people were ringing the doorbell. And I was just falling asleep the entire time when they were over. And I had to go upstairs and actually just like put my head on the pillow for a little bit. But, is there a dua that you can do when buying a car so that you don't get scammed? Istishara. It's not about dua. It's about istishara. Dua will be, yes, of course there's dua. Istikhara. It's salatul istikhara. However, when you're buying a car, take advice. I have been literally robbed because I had literally the deals that I got when I was young were literally highway robbery. Okay. So, and I remember when I went to one of the uncles, he's a car dealer, and he looked at the contract and he's like, you got played. Right. So istishara, do not go and do this by yourself. Right. Shar Patel says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In Surah Al-Rahman, 2 Jannahs are promised to the one who is scared of his Lord. The first described sounds higher than the other. Is that true? The first Jannah, it's interpreted in different ways. The first Jannah is the Jannah that you earn, that you receive for yourself. The second Jannah is the Jannah that would have been allotted to a non-believer. Okay. And therefore it could be more, because the non-believer, every human being is allotted a spot in paradise and in hell. And then you're going to go to either one of them. Hope we don't go to hell, right? But if you go to paradise, well, there are many people whose paradise is vacant. So it needs an occupant. So it's given to another person, right? And that's why it says Jannatan, Jannat, an yamin wa shimal, one on the right, one on the left, right? So, and therefore, if there are more vacancies, then you get more. You get more pieces of the pie. So those paradises are for one person. Another question says, during prayer, if one forgets how many sujuds one did during the rak'ah, what do? You build upon the smaller number. You build upon the smaller number. So if you made sujood for a long time and you can't remember, what was this, my first or second sajda? You add a sajda. However, if this keeps happening, then you don't do that. If it happens every day, then you ignore it. That's called mustankah ash-shak, someone who always has doubt, so you ignore it at that point. Okay. All right, folks. Any other final words from anyone before we wrap up? All right, we are good to go. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.